Yesterday I was watching this video where they present how to use the TypeScript, like the beginning, and I think it was interesting to transform one of my own projects to from JavaScript to TypeScript. So I have the project here, and I have here a new folder that I want to transform the project. I already did this one time and decided to do it again on video. It seemed like an interesting thing to do. In here, in this page, we can click here to start a new project, so the instructions. And also in here, we have the 4 conversion steps. I have already gone through it. I don't think I'm going to need to do it again. But yeah, you have some information that you might need. So let's start. First, I'm going to copy the command to create a new project. And my project is going to have the same name. So portfolio UI5. And I'm using the framework OpenUI5, and I'm going to use the latest version. I'm going to put my name, and it's not needed. And sure. Okay, now I'm going to just start. And it should open in here. Perfect. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is copy the manifest, so that shouldn't be any different other than the version. So in the manifest, let me paste and let me change to 16, save. And now the views are supposedly to be the same, so that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to copy from the old project the view folder and paste it here. Next, we are going to have an error because of utils. Supposedly, no. Oh, it's the libraries, okay. So also in here, I've added these 2 libraries. If I'm not mistaken, was these 2, correct? So let's put it here and let's put it here. Save. And when we add libraries, you need to restart. So now, yeah, now it's complaining about the home controller. So let's fix that. And it's because I don't have a home controller. So let's create one. Home controller, perfect. Here the name is home. And I don't need anything inside of home controller. So if we come to my project, as you see, it's empty, and that's the transformation that is needed. So the home controller is done. Now he's complaining about the utils formatter. Yeah. So basically what I did, I created a folder called utils. I put my formatter in utils. As you can see, this is the formatter. I don't need this format value. And let's copy everything I have inside. So we can just forget about this, like we used before, and just need the export default. And in here we have some problems. So as you can see, this is a string. Let's put this ID is a number. And this asset model, it's the model that comes from the backend. So let me create a folder called types. Let's organize. And in this folder, I'm going to have a file called API. So these are my types of the API. in here we can delete everything and just put the types. So I have a file here that tells me that I have already annotated the types, just for me to not be writing everything, and I forgot the double dots. Okay, this is normal because I'm not using it, so let's put API. No, it's the asset API, and if you press tab it auto completes and also imports. So now it's done, and in here it's an array. So yeah, that is done. I can copy this to here too, and this a number too. So the balance is a number. In this case is a float, but if I'm not mistaken, in TypeScript a number or float it's the same. And here is also a number. Maybe not. So it's expecting a string. Yeah, probably I'm passing a string and don't remember. And in here the value is a string. That's why I'm converting to a number. So that is done. No reference found. Yeah, that's normal. So now let me create the other file that I have here to validate. So new file, validate ts, and as we saw in the formatter, we just need to export defaults and copy everything we have inside to there. And yeah, it shouldn't complain anymore about utils. As you can see, we already have the views showing. Let me turn on the backend. Okay, we now should have at least requests too, because the manifest is making requests. Yeah, perfect, already showing information or data. Okay, so now I want to continue on the base controller. So let's close. Oh, let's change the models. I remember I have made things on model, so I have the upload model and the device. So this I didn't do anything, but I did this. So let me copy all of this and let me create a file similar, uploads, and inside of it we put what he had in the other. Now in here we can use private instead of the underscore like we are used. And can I use this? No value exists, scope private. Okay. Not sure if it's like this. I'm putting as private. Why is not working? Okay, for what I see, I don't export this, makes sense, and put it here and create a const, and should be it, and I don't need this anymore. And create model, this is just data, perfect. And the JSON model, it's here. I don't understand the error. Oh, it's other thing, okay. And I know that I'm using this in the same way we create the device model in the component. I'm creating the uploads, exactly. So if we do a quick fix, it imports automatically. So perfect. And yeah, that's that. The model is it's done, and now we can go to the base controller. So let me create what I have done in my base controller. So in here, I know that I have the data source. So let's create the data source here. And it's public, so we don't need to do anything. And equal. That's it. So my other controllers can use the data source. And now down here, it's where I add my functions. So as you can see, all the same methods. Now these are the ones that I created. Go here. And yeah. So they don't like this way of write the function, so let's make like these ones on top. So we should just take everything of that, and in here he wants a type, and this type is jQuery, but if we put the jQuery GK doesn't exist, and the solution I found, I'm not sure if it's the correct one, but it's coming to the tsconfig file, and in here on types we add types and jQuery. Of course, this is me that is not using OData from SAP, and it's using a custom API, so that's why I'm using jQuery. If you use fetch, you probably don't need anything of this, but I decided to go with jQuery. And now we should have the... oh, it's with uppercase, but I need this later on, but I think if I take it, it's going to give an error too, or maybe not. Yeah, exactly, we already need it here. So it's going to receive this message. Toast. The problem is that I need to import it. Okay, so this one is done. We can make it public too, because I'm using it outside of this controller. Show busy, we don't need to do this and can just import. And yeah, it's public too. Close, this is public too, and same thing. Close and refresh accounts. This one is a list. So the first problem is that we need to convert this to a list. No, I'm lying. This main does this know what is it? With 5 elements, okay. Maybe later on I need to check. Oh no, I need to already know what is this. So the view main, it's my view. So this is a view as view. And if we import, perfect. And this is a list, so as list. Already, if you press tab, it already imports to the library. And this is the model account. So let's create my... no, this is a JSON, just this return a JSON. So JSON model, and now he knows that he has load data. My JSON model, in case you wanna know, it's in here, as you see, JSON model. So this one is done too. We can close, and this is the same thing. So as JSON model, save. So the base controller is done. I have an error here. Why is that? Did I import the correct thing? Oh, yeah. So it's sub we core. Yeah, the error disappeared. Perfect. Okay, base controller is done and the application is still working. So now let's change the main controller. So we don't need this any longer. So I can press in the accounts. So let me copy everything and paste it. Save and let's start from the start. It seems that I missed. Did I miss something? I don't think I did. Okay, it's probably the error, that's why it's not formatting. Okay. So the first thing I did before was to change the function format, so that is part is done. And now the model account is a JSON model. Account has JSON model and is private. We no longer use underscores. And that's it. And same thing from here for this private and is type of JSON model. The on init, if you go to the app, we can see the on init here and it's public. And we can return void like they do it. And first error here is the const. Instead of var we use const in TypeScript. And I think it's done in this one. And here the event is this, and this I think it's route matched event, correct? It seems so, and you need to say this as string. No. Does not exist. Oh yeah, we need to create a private account ID and it's a number, and let's transform this to a number as number. The correct way would be like this, I think. Oh, it's an object, yeah, correct. Account ID. On type of object. Okay, we can quickly do this then. So the object contains account ID number. Normally it comes as a string, so let's be more correct. And let's make this a number. Perfect. The model account now it's like this. And this model is missing. We can take this. It's because it doesn't know which model is coming, so let's make a JSON model. Okay, that's done too. Now let's not do like this. Let's make it a string like it is. And if I need, I format it later on. Because if it's not a 0, it's going to be an n. And yeah. Okay. And let's make this a private. And does not exist. Yeah, makes sense. Perfect. Okay, next one. Refresh account. So private again. This model. We stop using vardet now, and instead of using vardet, we now start using not this function format, but the arrow with the arrow one. So we still have the correct object when using this, or we don't use the context of this. So let's take it from here, and in here we do close and like this, and same thing from here. So when we use this here is the correct one. It's the context of the view, and we can import the message toast, take the comma, and is can we just do this? Okay. Refresh account. Yeah. Later on we're going to use for sure. Or event. So this is the column list item press. So this is from a table when we press the item. So if we come here to the API reference and search for table, and we go to the events, and we have the item press. Is that what I want? Column list item. Let's go to the view. Main. Now this is the list, correct? Column list item press. No, the main, I'm mistaken. The main is the next view. Okay. Let's stop this control. No, we can just continue. And yeah, but the main, it's, no, I'm thinking correct. Main. Okay, so this must be from the I think I copy wrong. Yeah, I'm using the account one. Okay, so let's transform this to account and continue, I guess. So instead of the main, we are doing the account. So don't save, and on the account view, perfect. And I'm using this. So yeah, like I said, this is a column list item. So it's when we press. So let me see, column list item. And in the events, like I was saying, we have the list, it's borrowed from here, because if we go here and put the event of type column list item, we are not going to have the press event, so we need to use the list item base, and in here you are going to have the press event. And as a source, we are going to receive a column list item. Now, yes. And I think so, that we are receiving column list item. we can try that from, let me reopen this in a container. Let me run. And we should have the same application here. So this is what you can do in case you don't know what is bringing or you don't remember the source. Let me create a transaction. Oh. Okay, so on column list item. So when I press in the transaction, we want to see. So the select item is the type get metadata, get name. Yeah, like I said, column list item is correct. So yeah, that is that. And here the object that we are going to get is the, haven't put it here, but it's the transaction one. So I'm going to copy already everything that I have here to not do it again. The transaction one. And I need to put up PI, 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 PI. And it seems it's lowercase. So lowercase, okay. That is done. Same thing here. Lowercase, PI, okay. And so in here, I'm selecting the transaction. So this is the transaction API. Here I'm setting. Yeah, and I think this is done too. Okay, on open transaction dialog, again it's private. We need to create a dialog. You can just create a private dialog without underscore because we no longer need underscores because we have private. So like I said, we don't use var that equal to this no more because now we use arrow functions and we don't lose the context. And this as dialog. This one is done too. So this exactly. This is done too. Same thing for here. This is all public, I would say. It seems I need to change this here. Here it's public. And public. 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 Okay, so here, selected item. Now first let me take the this again. So convert the function to an arrow function. Oops. This, and the problem here is that it doesn't know what we are getting. So let's just get this one time. And this is the horizontal layout. It's a const as horizontal layout, and now we use this, and it's now it recognizes that it contains the method. So this error is gone too. And the table here, I think I can do this. No, quick fix. Yes, perfect. Okay. No. Maybe I need to do that here as table. Okay. The error is gone. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm doing the perfect way, but this is the way I find. I might change things later when I know more about TypeScript. So get selected item, id transaction is a select. So from here we need a select. We import select. Okay, this one is done too. Public again. So this on byte the dialog transaction press. This when I press a button. So this is a button press event. Exactly. Again, we don't use this anymore. We now no longer use this, but I'm going to change that later. So here is a JSON model. Yeah, for now I'm going to make the application work, and then I'm going to use the slint to grab all the rest of the errors. So here it's the same thing, arrow function. This dialog, and this, and same thing, arrow function. This is done too, so close aqui a private, and this is a let, and the rest is a const. The dialog, and this is the as horizontal layout. So this knows that contains the get content, and now I'm going to get a table, and now we know the items. List item base, I guess it can be. Here it's because it doesn't know is a date picker. As date picker, correct. And the table fees is as table. Stable, perfect. Okay, the items here, it's when we are validating. And since I'm not sure, we can come here, validate table. So let me create another transaction. Okay, so the items, it's going to be an array, and let's go to the first element. Get name. It's a column list item, okay. So that's what we are receiving, and I guess in these items transactions, that's what we are getting. So a column list item here, and same items transactions. Oh, yeah. Maybe that's why. And I didn't need this. No, I need it, okay. Items fees, same thing. Now the cell. So let's do I still have it here? No. Okay. so items, and if we continue the cell, get metadata, get name, it's an input. Yeah, now that I remember, this can be a few different types. It can be an input, it can be a combo box, and yeah, it can only be these two. So let's this, like I said, we no longer use functions, use function arrows. Argument of type cell, body is not a cell, because we probably need to say this here instead. And oh, it's an array. It's true. Array, and can be one of these two types. Yeah, perfect. Now cell knows that it can only be one of these two. And yeah, here, like I said, instead of underscore private, and same for this, public, this, get selected item, this is select, as select, okay, we need to do this. Yeah. Okay, this one is done too. Public, take this from here, and fixed. This is on table role delete. This is a const as table. This is when I press the cross in the table, so this, like the other thing before, it's a list item base, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the delete, yeah, list base, delete event, perfect. This selected item, it's the column list item, and yeah, I know it's a number, and in here it's the select again. Mistake, it's this that needs to be converted. Okay, everything is correct in these two. Public and hof is delete, so same thing as before. This is a table. It probably doesn't need this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And this one is fixed too. Public. On delete button dialog transaction press. So this is a button on the dialog, button press. Again, we don't use that. So this, and arrow functions. So we can use this. And same thing from for here to be all the same. This. Okay. So this controller should be fixed. I still have errors. Okay. It's because I've changed the name. Makes sense. And also on here. Okay. So we still can't use this controller, but we will after. So let's create the main now. So main, and in here change the name, and now yes, we are going to open the main instead of the account like I did before. Copy this. Okay, this time I should have copied correctly. Okay, so like before, let's change everything of the function structure. Perfect. Now this is public, and the event is the, like on the table. No, I want list this time. So on the event of item press, if I'm not mistaken. So let's open here. On the main view list, I have the press of the standard list item. Okay, it was not the list, standard list item, and the event press, as you can see, it's list item base, and the event is press, and the event source of this is going to be the list item base, I think. Let me make sure. So not this. In here, the main controller on list item base, exactly when I press, what is the get source, get metadata, it's their standard list item. That's what I want. So as standard list item, cannot find it needs to be imported. Perfect. Can close this. This event is the delete event of the list. So let's go back here, and in the list of the events to delete is the list base. Okay, so list base event delete. Perfect. Here we just import the message box to account name, because the object is the type account API, so now he knows. We can take this from here. This returns a string, and like I said, let's make the arrow function. This one is fixed too. So the private account ID is a number. Let's import the message toast. Like I said, we no longer use that. We use the arrow functions to continue having the context. And this, let's put on everything. Okay. This is a button, so we don't even need the event, so let's delete this. And this is a public and public. Again, no this. And you need to create the dialog too in here, so let's do that. Private dialog of type dialog. And yeah, it should be, oh, as dialog. We also don't use the event here. This is public. This is an input. As input. I should maybe create a variable to not be so ugly, but like I said, I just want to make it work. And then we can do all of those things. This. Did I delete it? No. Delete. Perfect. And close. Private. This is an input. And it's fixed. The dialog. Can close this. Deleted too much. Okay, now we have the errors of the name of the function. So here and in here. Okay, so this is done, and we now should be able to now navigate. Not this, it's this that I wanted. Yeah, we are able to navigate, and we could navigate to assets, but I don't have it here, and let's do it now. So the app controller, it's where that part is. So app controller, let's copy everything to, and put my own init is the same, that's why I just replace it. And let's change the function like we did in all previous. So that's that, and this is a public. It's how we navigate to assets. Public. So let me create a dialog. So private dialog. Is the app dialog exactly. This as dialog, and the arrow function here. So this is a select. The account, it's a select too. And dialog. File uploader is a file uploader. Exactly. And message toast, we need to import. This one is done too. The O event. This is a button on the file upload. No, this is an event of the file upload. So let's do file upload. In the event of complete, upload complete. Do we have it here? Maybe. Complete. Yeah, we have. Okay. Status. Yeah, I had this problem before. It says the status, it's a string, but I'm sure that it's coming from a number. That's why I'm putting 2 equals to not compare the type. So it still works, but I think this is a bug on the library because it's returning a number and not a string, or at least for me. And I don't know why. So yeah, and this is public like the previous one. here the event upload changer, so it's the file uploader tool. Change event is a file uploader. Dialog. This is a select. This error is because it doesn't know that it contains the method. That's why I'm also always defining the type. Same thing from here as file uploader. And yeah, this one is done, and we should be able to navigate to assets unless the assets controller is needed. Okay. Oh, and let's wait, it's giving an error, no reference of app, but we have. Maybe it's because I didn't open this. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's create the asset controller. It's from home, so asset it's asset or asset? Yeah, assets. Okay. If I open this, the error should disappear, right? Assets. Weird. Okay, let's continue. So assets, same thing, copy everything and put it inside of here. And now we change the functions and continue editing. So public, same thing, I need to create a dialog. So private dialog. We don't need that because we use the arrow functions. And we convert dialog to dialog. This is done. We don't need the event. Again, we don't use this anymore. So we can just do this. We need to bring the message toast. We need to convert this tree, so let's do this, and as it's all inputs, and do this and this. Okay, we need to import the input. Perfect. So this, and convert to error functions again. Then the private one, and we convert all of these to inputs as input. And yeah, what else? We're going to have errors here. This is a public one too. And this, we don't need an event here, and it's public like the previous one. Okay, and we have some errors because of the change of the function name. Oh, I put 3 S's, that's why. Okay. So we should be able to navigate to assets too. So yeah, you already have assets. Let's create a dummy one. yeah, it's working too. We can change to account. We can go to the wallet. We can try the file uploads, I guess. Let's put on 3 uploads. Wait a bit. It's done. No, just was the options. Okay, it's done. So yeah, we have all the transactions here. Perfect. Yeah, so the last things is, for example, the jQuery timeout that I don't have here. So let me bring. So on the component, we have the jQuery timeout. That's why I'm using jQuery, because the fetch doesn't time out. And this way, the fetch of SAP, like the manifest, when it's fetching the models, also have a timeout this way. So this, and also let me change the theme. So in here, if I'm not mistaken, is it dark? It's enough. Exactly, it's already dark. And I think it's everything. Now I should be able to do need to do some tests to see if everything is working, but in reality what I'm going to do, these errors here, it's normally given, but now we shouldn't have anything, yeah, because yeah, it simply doesn't clear the console. But now what I'm going to do is do the lint to see the best practices, because everything is working normally, but doesn't mean that as the best practices. And SAP give us this one that we can run and see all the errors that we have because we are not using the best practices.